Hi everyone, my name is David, and my goal is to teach Canadians how to start and run their own profitable businesses. Every week I'll bring you a deep dive into yet another business idea. Today, we'll be talking about restaurants. They say 60% of restaurants fail in their first year. But here's the truth. The restaurants failing today are using a 2015 playbook. Today, I'm giving you the 2026 masterclass for feeding your community and building a profitable business. Let's dive in. This video contains a complete blueprint to starting and running a restaurant in Canada. In this executive summary, I'll list all the topics we'll cover, so you can choose which section you want to watch first. We'll start with a short market study and trend analysis, and then immediately tackle the main reasons why restaurants fail. After that, we'll cover the legal aspects of restaurants, before moving to the finer points, such as picking a location and cuisine, building a smart kitchen and tech stack, and the appropriate marketing techniques. After covering all these aspects, we'll be in a position to discuss the potential profits. In the end, we'll look at ongoing health inspection requirements. First, let's look at the landscape. The Canadian restaurant market is expected to grow by 1.3% in 2026 in terms of sales volumes. This barely outpaces population growth, which means that if you start a new restaurant, you're not fighting for new customers. You are fighting to steal market share from existing operators. The market is bifurcated into three segments. On one end, quick service restaurants and fast casual brands are thriving by capturing the value-conscious middle class. On the other end, hyper-premium dining is holding steady because high-net-worth individuals remain insulated from inflation. The danger zone is the mid-tier family restaurant, that average sit-down spot with no identity, which is currently seeing a significant volume decline as Canadians opt for home-cooked meals or high-quality frozen options to save on tipping. Regionally, the prairies, meaning Alberta and Saskatchewan, are showing the most resilience due to lower relative commercial rents and stable energy sector employment. Conversely, Ontario and British Columbia are high-stakes environments where you need significant capital reserves to weather the first 18 months in Toronto or Vancouver. One solution to the high rent problem in Toronto and Vancouver is to place new restaurants in the suburban hubs 15 minutes away. These secondary markets offer lower overhead and a captive audience of remote workers. The next topic we'll cover is consumer trends. The 2026 consumer is highly agenic. Over 50% of Canadians now use AI-driven discovery tools, like Google's Gemini Enhanced Maps, to choose where to eat based on specific attributes like quiet for business meetings or high-protein vegan options. If your digital footprint isn't optimized for these conversational queries, you essentially don't exist. Consumer demographics are also shifting the menu. Gen Z and millennials now dictate trends, prioritizing functional foods, ingredients that offer health benefits beyond basic nutrition, and sustainability. Another notable trend is the Buy Canadian movement, where a maple leaf label on menu items serves as a powerful psychological trigger for domestic diners. Lastly, the rise of sober-curious dining has forced a shift in revenue strategy. With alcohol sales declining by 10.6%, the most successful operators are those who have mastered high-margin, sophisticated non-alcoholic beverage programs. Let's now talk about one of the most critical sections of this video, the risks of running a restaurant. The failure rate for Canadian restaurants in their first 3 years remains stubbornly high at 40%. Understanding why is the best way to ensure you aren't part of this statistic. Let's look at the 30-30-30-10 fallacy. Traditionally, restaurants aimed for 30% food costs, 30% labor, and 30% overhead, leaving 10% profit. In 2026, this math is broken. Labor and commercial rents have spiked so aggressively that many operators are seeing a 40-40-20 split, where overhead and labor swallow 80% of revenue before a single ingredient is bought. Labor costs in 2026 have risen mainly due to a 10% cap on low-wage temporary foreign workers and a reduction in temporary residents in general. This does not mean you can't start a successful restaurant today. There are 6 key risks that, once understood well, can be tackled easily. Number 1. Undercapitalization. Most owners plan for 3 months of burn, but in the current regulatory and construction environment, permits take longer and break-even usually takes 12 to 18 months. If you don't have a year of operating expenses in the bank, you are at risk. Number 2, the alcohol margin gap. As I said before, alcohol sales in Canada dropped 10.6% recently. Many restaurants were built on the assumption that booze would subsidize the food. If your concept relies on $18 cocktails to survive, you are vulnerable to the growing sober-curious movement. Number 3, rent trap. Commercial leases in Tier 1 cities are often triple net, meaning you pay the base rent plus property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. The solution is to understand and account for these expenses. Number 4, stagnant pricing. The silent killer of the modern restaurant is a lack of real-time data. Operators who do not know their daily cost of goods sold or fail to track waste are flying blind. In an environment where supplier prices for meat and dairy are fluctuating by 5 to 7% quarterly, staying on a static menu for 6 months can erode all profit. Number 5, operational inconsistency and bad customer reviews. With high staff turnover, often more than 100% annually, food quality fluctuates. In the age of instant TikTok reviews, a single bad night can tank your SEO ranking. Number 6, lack of differentiation. If you are opening a general, Italian, or burger joint, you are a commodity. Commodities compete on price. In 2026, you cannot afford to compete on price because your costs are too high. You must compete on scarcity or experience. Now that we're done talking about the risks, let's move to the legalities around a restaurant. To keep this video short, I'm assuming the restaurant is in Ontario. Let's dive in. As it relates to the business structure, you must register your business name and obtain a master business license. Incorporation is highly recommended to shield your personal assets from the high liabilities of food service. In Canada, you'll register through the Business Registration Online system. You'll get your 9-digit business number from the CRA. Here's a pro tip. Register for your HST account immediately. Even though you aren't selling yet, you want to claim the input tax credits on all your startup equipment purchases. That's money back in your pocket during the most expensive phase. The next step is municipal licensing. In Toronto, you need an eating or drinking establishment license. This requires a criminal record and judicial matters. Check for all directors and proof of work status. When it comes to zoning and building, never sign a lease without a zoning preliminary review. You need to ensure the space is legally zoned for restaurant use and that your planned renovations meet the Ontario Building Code, especially regarding fire suppression and grease traps. If you plan on having a patio, ensure you apply for a permanent patio endorsement. For public health and safety, you must notify the local health unit, for example, Toronto Public Health, before opening. They will review your floor plans before you even swing a hammer, and at least one person on every shift must hold a valid food handler certification. Regarding liquor licensing, the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario manages liquor licenses. The process takes 4 to 6 months and requires a public notice period where neighbors can object. All staff must be SmartServe certified. Finally, note that final occupancy is contingent on a fire services inspection, ensuring your commercial kitchen hood and suppression systems meet the Ontario Fire Code. As a disclaimer, please note that this was just an overview of the legalities surrounding a restaurant, and there may be special situations where other laws too become relevant. Moving on to location strategy. In 2026, street front locations are often overvalued. The smart kitchen owner is moving into mixed-use developments and 15-minute neighborhoods. Look for shadow anchors, places like gyms, high-end grocery stores, or transit hubs that guarantee foot traffic without you having to spend as much on marketing. Another thing to consider is the delivery radius. Your physical location must now serve two masters: the foot traffic guest and the 5-kilometer delivery radius. Use heat mapping tools to ensure your location is central to a demographic that spends at least $100 per week on third-party delivery apps. Third, look for second-generation spaces, former restaurants. The cost to install a new HVAC system and grease trap can exceed $250,000. Buying an existing restaurant's bones is the fastest way to break even. Lastly, do your due diligence to avoid locations with hidden operational hurdles. This includes buildings with outdated grease interceptors with a replacement cost of $20,000, poor loading dock access for suppliers, or electrical panels that cannot support modern high-voltage combi ovens. Furthermore, check the co-tenancy. Being located next to a competitor with a much larger marketing budget can be a death sentence. Ultimately, your cuisine must dictate your location. A high-end tasting menu belongs in a destination pocket with valet or transit access, whereas a breakfast-focused bagel shop must be on the morning side of the street, where people walk, drive toward work, to capture peak volume. Having said that, let's talk about cuisine selection. The most successful menus in 2026 include functional foods, menus focusing on gut health, high protein, or adaptogenic ingredients are commanding a 20% price premium. Next is cuisine as experience. Concepts that offer an immersive element, such as open-fire cooking, tableside prep, or chef-led narratives, are thriving because they provide social currency, that is, content for the customer's social media. Another trend is global fusion. High-growth areas include West African, Filipino, and modern halal cuisines, reflecting Canada's shifting demographics. The most profitable cuisine right now is high-velocity fast casual. Think of concepts like Mediterranean bowls, specialized tacos, or high-protein salads. These cuisines share three vital traits. Number 1. Low-skill floor. Prep can be standardized, reducing the need for expensive, highly trained executive chefs. Number 2. High customizability. This appeals to the individualized diet trend, for example, keto, vegan, or halal. Number 3. Batchability. Ingredients are often shared across multiple menu items, reducing inventory complexity. Let's now talk about Kitchen 2.0. The goal is to maximize revenue per square foot, minimize labor hours per plate, and reduce operating expenses. First, look at electric or induction kitchens. Many new commercial builds in Calgary and Montreal are offering incentives to go gas-free. Induction is 90% efficient compared to 40% for gas. It keeps your kitchen 15 degrees cooler than a gas kitchen, which means your HVAC bill drops, and your staff won't quit because they're overheating. You can also consider combi ovens and speed ovens. They use a mix of steam, convection, and microwave tech to cook a chicken breast in 4 minutes instead of 15, with zero loss in quality. Third, let's talk about automated prep. We are seeing small-scale automation, like automatic salad spinners, precision dough dividers, and programmable fryers that shake the basket and lift automatically, ensuring consistency even with unskilled labor. Lastly, Kitchen 2.0 is paperless. Kitchen display systems, KDS, are now dynamic. They don't just show orders, they time them. If a table orders a medium rare steak and a salad, the KDS tells the salad station exactly when to start so both dishes hit the pass at the same second. This reduces refires and cold food complaints. Now that we're done talking about the kitchen, we can move on to the rest of the tech stack. A modern restaurant is essentially a software company that happens to serve food. Your stack must be integrated because siloed data is the enemy of profit. In 2026, your point of sale, or POS system, isn't a cash register anymore. It's your brain. Stop having 5 tablets on your counter. You want a system where a DoorDash order goes straight to your kitchen display system and automatically deducts the ingredients from your inventory. If your tech doesn't talk to each other, you are leaking labor hours every single day. Furthermore, you don't count cans. Sensors and AI-linked cameras track waste and usage, automatically generating purchase orders when stock hits par levels. There's also predictive labor scheduling. Tools like 7 Shifts use your POS data to predict exactly how many staff you need for a Tuesday lunch based on weather forecasts and local events. Lastly, you need a customer relationship management tool that tracks if a guest is a regular, vegan, or high spender, so your servers can personalize the greeting the moment they check in. The next topic we'll discuss is marketing. In 2026, traditional PR is dead. Community-led growth is the only sustainable strategy. Let's look at a few examples. Generative engine optimization is the new SEO. You must ensure your restaurant's data, for example, the menu, hours, and vibe, is readable by AI bots. When someone asks an AI, "Where should I go for a gluten-free date night in Calgary?" your restaurant needs to be the top recommendation with a cited reason. The next trick is short-form videos. You need 3 to 5 high-quality reels or TikToks per week. People love seeing the behind the scenes, the chef deboning a fish, the bartender's prep, or the first bite reaction. Let's not forget about the content generated by satisfied customers. Your restaurant must be Instagrammable by design. Lighting, plating, and even the bathroom wallpaper should be designed to encourage guests to take photos. 80% of new guests will find you through a friend's story before they find you through an ad. Lastly, we must discuss micro-influencers. Stop chasing influencers with 1 million followers. Partner with hyper-local foodies who have 5,000 to 10,000 followers in your specific neighborhood. Their conversion rate is significantly higher. With that, we can finally talk about profits and the 10% Club. In the Canadian restaurant game, if you take home 10% profit, you are a rock star. A successful restaurant would generally generate a monthly net profit between $8,000 and $15,000. I would add a disclaimer here that these are average numbers, and these profits are not guaranteed for a new restaurant. The 2 ways to increase profits are to increase revenues and reduce costs. I'll talk about revenue first. Menu engineering is a great way to maximize revenue. Using your point of sale data, identify and place each menu item in the following 4 categories. Number 1, stars. These are high profit and high popularity. These items should be prominently featured on menus and on restaurant windows and walls. Number 2, plow horses. These are low profit but high popularity items. The strategy here is to increase prices. Number 3, puzzles. These items are high profit but low popularity. Move them to the top of the menu. This technique is called anchor pricing, where placing a high-priced item on the top makes other items look like a bargain. Number 4 are dogs. Low profit and low popularity. Kill these immediately. 2 additional menu strategies are peak hour pricing and the booster strategy. Peak hour pricing means increasing prices during high-demand time slots, while the booster strategy refers to selling add-ons like fries and premium water to increase the check size. Let's talk about cost reduction now. The first important technique is waste audits. Food waste is like burning cash. Daily waste logs and nose-to-tail cooking, for example, using vegetable scraps for stocks or infusions, can lower food costs by 3 to 5%. Another cost reduction technique is utility efficiency. Smart thermostats and LED lighting upgrades in 2026 can reduce your fixed overhead by $500 to $1,000 a month, equivalent to selling an extra 50 to 100 meals. The last section of this video relates to ongoing health inspections. Health inspections are public, unannounced, and binary. Systems like Toronto's DineSafe use a traffic light system, where green means pass, yellow means conditional pass, and red means closed. Health inspectors focus on the Big Five. Number 1, food temperature. This requires keeping hazardous foods out of the 4 to 60 degrees Celsius danger zone. Number 2, cross-contamination. This necessitates keeping raw protein separate from other ingredients. Number 3, personal hygiene. Restaurants must always have accessible hand-washing stations for the staff. Number 4, sanitization. This requires keeping the appropriate chemical concentration in the dishwasher. And number 5 is pest control. To wrap it up, running a restaurant in Canada is a marathon in the snow. It's tough, but for those who leverage technology and watch their margins, it's incredibly rewarding. In the comments, please let me know if you'd like me to make a more detailed video on any given topic related to restaurants. Next week, I'm doing a deep dive into another popular business idea in Canada. I'll see you then. Best of luck.